Welcome, my name is James Ross, the Multimedia Editor at SBC, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Motti Colman, the VP of Revenue at Optimove. How are you doing, Motti? You okay?
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. We have got a lot to discuss. So can you just kind of expand a bit into AI-orchestrated marketing for us?
Yeah, sure. I think AI has become a bit of a buzzword. And I actually always told my sales team never use the word because I don't want to oversell it, but it's at the core of who we are as a business, kind of before it was cool. AI to us always was about understanding the customer. So it was about being able to say, right, this is who the customer is. And if we know who the customer is, what should we do with them? How should our clients treat them? And that kind of expanded in many different ways. It started off through predictive modeling, and then it became about AI orchestration. So once you sort of scale up and you've got so many deep layers of segmentation and so many different types of customers that you're trying to send campaigns to, who should get what and when should they get it, and when there's crossfire, when it's your birthday, when it's also, you want to have a bet on Tottenham this weekend, what do we choose, what do we prioritize? And so AI has always been at the heart of how we orchestrate or help our clients orchestrate the various different campaigns in their platform. And it's spun out in many different ways, but it's always been a kind of a core part of our DNA.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, AI, you've said it yourself, it's kind of a buzzword. And I did like the phrase, we did it before it was cool. But can you just elaborate on kind of how AI is going to be enhanced, certainly within the iGaming industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of different ways that AI is being used. It's being used by trading platforms to help find the best margin. In our world, it's being used a lot by the content producers, and I'm not talking about the games providers, but I mean the sort of like the campaigns that are being sent. So when you get down this path of multi-segmentation, you end up the funnel becomes your capacity to send out different campaigns to different customers, different content. And so AI can play a very big role in operational efficiency. You can get the AI tool to feed you back with various different types of content, different types of images, so that you can roll out various different campaigns to multiple customer groups, but in a much sort of shorter time to market. So I think AI plays a very big role in operational efficiency.
Again, on the iGaming Daily podcast, we touched upon this, I believe it was with Shay, and Optigenie was mentioned, and we didn't go into it in as much depth as I would like. So, Motti, now is your chance to kind of delve into that. Can you just expand on Optigenie and how it impacts and optimizes the marketer's abilities?
So, Optigenie is the brand name, right? So, Optigenie kind of puts together all the AI work that we've been doing historically and all the new stuff that we're doing now. At the moment, a marketer wants to segment their customer group, and they don't really necessarily know how to do that. What are the different behavioral elements that they should be focusing on? So one of the AI tools, one of the newer pieces of Optigenie would be a target group discovery, where effectively the tool's feeding back to you different layers of segmentation, different behavioral types that exist within the customer ecosystem, and saying to you, have you thought about thinking about the customer in this specific way? Should we be focusing on the number of deposits that the customer's made? So it starts feeding you back with insights, intelligence to help you as the CRM team think about the way to treat the customers. And once you start adding different customer groups, it will come back to you and say, okay, that's an interesting group of customers. It might react to campaigns this way or that way. Now break it down again. And it's constantly feeding you back with layers of intelligence for how to break very big groups of players down to smaller ones. Ultimately, you're trying to get down to one-to-one marketing, but you're trying to do it in a way that focuses on the right behavioral patterns so that we can make sure that we're targeting the right customers in the right ways.
And kind of without giving too much away, can you kind of just give us a hint on any new offerings that you might be contributing to the market? One
of the big layers of feedback that we've had from our clients over the years has been that we're so involved in the bonusing parts of the customer journey. Historically, all of that's kind of happened just via an API. We've done a lot of work over the last 6 months of looking at different ways that you can actually build the rewards themselves inside of Optimove. And then when you're firing that back to the bonus tool, it's being done with a much smarter way. So again, the right type of bonus to the customer. So that'll be the next phase of what we're looking at.
Let's cast our eye into the future a little bit, into 2025. Can you just kind of give us, your thoughts on what we can expect from kind of the AI area in the next 12 months or so?
I think always the problem's been is that the CRM marketer is a marketer, they're a creative person and they want to think of good ideas, but they've always been bogged down with playing with target groups and thinking about business intelligence type ideas. Hopefully what AI will do for them over the next 12 months is really take that out of their hands so that they can focus on being the most creative marketer that they always wanted to be in the first place.
You mentioned kind of at the start AI being a buzzword. Another buzzword, but it's actually quite an important one, is ecosystem.
Yep.
And that's something I kind of want to touch on in this next part of the interview, is here at SBC Summit, you brought quite a few partners with you.
Right.
We can see them on your stand. How important is it for you to have these partnerships, and how beneficial are they to iGaming companies?
Optimove tends to become a central point for a business. All of the customer interaction starts with Optimove. We get all of the data, we see everything going on. But it doesn't end with Optimove, right? So there's always been other tools and pieces that bolt on to Optimove, because they also obsess over the customer data, and whether it's gamification, or whether it's free to play, whether it's the last mile of the journey, sending out the actual campaign to the customer, Optimove becomes a kind of a central hub. And so what we've done here at SBC, we've actually brought those partners with us to sit on the booth, and so we can actually start introducing them here today, and probably for all future events as well. Optimove becomes the marketplace effectively for all the various different technology pieces that you're going to be using, but with Optimove as the central core platform that drives it all.
Can you just give me a bit of an insight into kind of the network you've got behind you right there?
Yeah.
And just how significant these partnerships can be. I mean, I think I spoke to one of them, can't for the life of me remember the name, but he worked for United for like 10 years, and we just got into a great conversation. And I think that actually might be one of the key things why you've got them on your booth.
Yeah.
Is to have that connection, to have people communicate on your stand with your partners as well.
You see the same faces again and again and again, but everyone's got their kind of own little network as well. And I mean, it goes without saying that having very good and strong relationships across key players within the industry can only benefit your business. So for sure, we're looking to leverage other people's networks. They're looking to leverage ours. It's a win-win type of situation. There's great people here with us. We hope that we provide our clients with the best customer experience, and in doing so, get something in return.
We're going to shift on to kind of different regions now, different markets that you might look to kind of penetrate and get success in. And one of the great things I've found at SBC Summit, when I've had a few conversations with people, is kind of everyone goes to the same markets, like the European market is so huge and everything like that. But Africa was also one which I thought, that's interesting, I've not heard that in a few years. But the big one is always Latin America, and definitely Brazil at the moment. And these are markets that you're looking to penetrate and grow in. Can you just give us a bit of an insight of your aims for that market and how you look to enter and grow in them?
Yeah. So I agree. LATAM's a very big market. It's a big market for us. We've had strong presence there for a while. We've got people that work within the commercial org and also within the customer org that are based out of both Colombia and Brazil, and we're expanding our reach in those territories. It's important to have localization, both from a language perspective, a culture perspective, and your go-to-market strategy is a lot easier. The way that we think about customer data, it allows us to be very, very insightful for our clients. Once we see customer data on the sort of level that we see it at, we're able to give a lot of benchmarking feedback to our new clients that come on board. So if you take Brazil as a market, businesses like Betano, businesses like Bet365, like Bet Nacional, who are now part of Flutter, these are some of the biggest players in the space. Even before we actually built our own presence in Brazil, we already had, or we already managed to get those guys as clients of Optimove. And so our learnings and our ability to pass that information on to our clients are not real data in terms of information, but just our understanding of what happens in that space and the cultural implications of it all.
I always like it when I ask that question and the first thing you say is localization. It's key to any market, and specifically Latin America. So many people kind of enter that market with a one-size-fits-all approach. It's never the case, and you need to kind of localize yourself in each region of that market. So it's great to hear on that case. Where else are Optimove looking to kind of enter and kind of, showcase themselves?
You mentioned Africa, and Africa's been an interesting place for us as well. And we've done a nice bit of business there over the last couple of years. But I think Southeast Asia for us is going to be the next place.
Do love the idea of Southeast Asia, I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to look forward to that, and hopefully I can get you on the iGaming Daily podcast to talk about it in the future. I'm going to round off with one more question, and it's going to focus around the lottery space, because we're seeing such a big digital transformation now in that sector. But from a CRM's perspective, how do Optimove and how do Optimove and CRM in general look to penetrate that digital transformation that we're seeing in lottery?
Lottery businesses by nature tend to be government sponsored effectively, or state sponsored. These businesses move slowly, and you've got to be very, very patient, and you've got to build up years and years in advance, and you've got to kind of you've got to take a long-term view. So I work in sales, and I have done, and people in sales tend to think about quarters, but because I've been at Optimove for 10 years, I've been given the privilege of thinking about things over a longer period of time and Lottery is a very, very slow, long play, but I think it pays massive dividends over an extended period of time. And these businesses really, really need to trust you and really need to understand that you're enterprise ready and that you have a big organization sitting behind you. But once they do put that trust in you, it can be a very fruitful and interesting relationship.
Interested to see how that relationship develops in the future. Motti, thank you for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Likewise.